This is Idiots versus Idiots. We are a business and marketplace news podcast brought to you by the two brown and white cherubic faces you see on your screen here.
Why does it
I
have to be brown and white? Why do you have to bring color into the situation?
Okay, I don't because we are brown and white. I mean, it's just a matter of fact.
Valid point.
I'm
Go
not. I'm
ahead.
not making a racial statement. Jeez.
Well, I just wanted to clarify.
Okay. And we like to on every show we break down 4 stories from the wide world of business, entrepreneurship, and the marketplace. And so we do a show where I explain to the big man here what sometimes I have to explain to him what things are because he's a Gen Xer, spirit of a boomer. And I find it so endearing that there is literally no insult
You
I can
just
throw.
love to
Yes.
chew on me about that. He knows how
true.
much I hate to be called a boomer.
That's
So
so
much so
true.
that one of our wonderful idiot listeners out there commented on agreeing with Danny, saying,
Well, it's my
"Oh, he
former.
basically is a boomer." But no,
It's my best friend and former roommate. So like he's doing it to be on my side.
Well,
But
you know what? Forget both of you. Both of you can jump off a bridge.
So,
All right, go ahead.
Well, you can't. We're trying to find new publisher advertising, and you got to stop saying these ridiculous things. Having your absurd opinions. So the first story I want to talk about, it's gained a little age on it now, but a bunch of people have, it's really just 2 guys, are moving from Goldman Walmart. And what's interesting about that is it appears as though the good people at Walmart are attempting to brace or endeavor into the financial technology space, or FinTech, as those of us in the industry call it.
Okay, first of all, the whole, fledgling financial technology startup, as they call it. Okay, look, there's nothing technological. Can people stop with these announcements with words? Because if we add technology to it, more people will read it, or more people. No, they want to start up a good old-fashioned bank. That's it. It's that simple. They tried this in one state. I think I read as part of the article. They tried this several years ago and it was shut down. They never got the license from the government to do it because there's always been this separation between normal financial industries and commerce. Now, I say this, you and I can go start a bank. It's relatively easily. It's one of those late night infomercials about starting a bank with your own money and then lending it to yourself. And there's this process. Now, that's a bank. That's a lending firm. However, what they're talking about is becoming an FDIC, federally insured bank branch. There's a difference between starting a bank that can lend money and actually being an FDIC insured bank. Now, Walmart's looking at the latter, which would be more difficult to do. Now, for why they're looking at doing it, I don't blame them. I actually learned something that I didn't know from this article, and obviously I'm an idiot. There's a lot of things I didn't know. But the average person apparently in Walmart goes into their stores, the average customer, 30 times a year, which is more than twice the second largest, which is Target. 30 times a year. So if you have a customer, the average
they're
customer,
going in once a month. No, wait, sorry.
That's almost 3 times a month.
Yeah, holy.
Okay, that's like 2.5 times a month, right?
Right.
So
yeah.
the average customer is coming in 2.5 times a month. Anything else you can stick in there, and look, this is even a new idea for them as far as most of the Walmarts near us have some sort of bank branch in them, but I guarantee you they're not making the money, right?
No.
Like that they would if they had their own money or whatever. And you're talking about the banking industry, which is a racket. It's a good old-fashioned mob's racket in itself, right? You're talking about, according to this same article, some banks made as much as $17 billion in overdraft fees last year.
Right.
Billion with a B.
And so Walmart actually already explored this industry a little bit when they previously had partnered with American Express, and they created a prepaid credit card, which is this kind of weird, I would call it like end run around traditional banking because it's not a bank account, but it literally does everything a checking account does. You can deposit,
Mm-hmm.
you can get your direct deposits, you can deposit checks, you can move money. It was called Bluebird by American Express, and it was exclusive to Walmart. You would think, we've talked about American Express. It's this big company who mainly focus on luxury, good and luxury. They
Yeah.
focus on high end consumers,
Right.
but we all understand one thing, and that Walmart excels at, which is speaking to the lower tier um, customer with less access to financial services. Listen, Walmart, you can wire money at a Walmart, you can cash
Mm-hmm.
checks at a Walmart. There's already a handful of services that are not classified as requiring a banking license that you can do inside of a Walmart, and you can do cheaply. You can
But they've
cash
done
checks
all
in a,
that with partnerships. That
oh
not,
yeah,
and that's where the next level is. Just like Amazon's looked into this as well,
right.
right? These big companies. It's not about at some level of business when you get into these large like Walmart, Amazon, right, Facebook, in these big companies, you move past the partnership phase because it's always about growth, right? You're either growing or you're dying. There's no third direction. And when you look at a company like Walmart, that okay, it has UPS in its stores. It has a bank
Yeah,
in its stores. It has, you can send money, but it's really not them sending money. They're using
it's
Western Union
yeah.
or whatever partner they have in the region or whatever it may be. So the only way to continue to grow at some level is to start offering them those services to by yourself, so that you're not giving them a cut. You're not giving Western Union a cut. You're not giving that bank a cut. You're
Right.
keeping all the money in house. They want to be able, how does any bank make money? It's through fees. If Walmart can keep those fees in house with a customer that's going to come into their stores 2.5 times a month and they're there
Right.
anyway, look, and guess what? Every lobbyist on the banking side, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, right? They're all lobbying against this.
Of
They're
course,
all lobbying from this is why
because
Walmart didn't get the license
the
several
first
years ago.
time. So I wonder. I'm curious to know, and I think this may end up being the route they go, um, which is they go find a smaller network of banks or a handful of them and just start acquiring them, gobble them up, because it's just easier to go that route with infrastructures there and just
Sure.
kill their existing retail business and move all that. And this connects in my head anyway. I'm always like, I'm like Charlie connecting the dots all the time. Everyone knows the meme. But we recently saw an article. I'll link it in the description. The Dallas Morning News, that Walmart is going to convert one of its existing retail locations in North Dallas
Mm-hmm.
to a delivery only or curbside
Warehouse.
pickup. Yeah, it's a curbside pickup warehouse. They're just gonna have pickers on the inside, and you're just gonna pull up, and they're gonna put the stuff in your trunk. That's effectively how I understood it. And so when you see that they're piloting that model, you go, okay. They're wondering, how do we take, like, let's say a store is 50,000 square feet. They're going to convert that a 10,000 square foot of the front end of the store into retail, different, basically a strip mall within a Walmart, if you will, right?
Right.
Different services, optical, pharmaceutical. They're probably going to have a minute clinic style thing in there.
They've
And the
definitely tried the
bank,
medical thing, right? A couple of years back, they tried to do, all right, we're going to put,
they
a
are,
clinic inside each one. And
right.
you know, I agree with you, but look, again, it almost, they're trying to bring the Walmart model to another industry. And that, again, why would we all live in a world right now? Look, banks, you don't go into your bank anyway. Nobody goes into their
No.
banks anymore,
I
right?
mean,
That kind of thing.
I still do because I try to get all my checks out in cash, but
But
um,
very rarely, when we're talking about
yeah,
statistically, the foot traffic inside your average Bank of America,
it's
whatever it
done.
is down. So we really live in a technology world. So really, what are they looking at, right? It really doesn't even benefit them to have a bank inside the Walmart. What they
No,
want to do is move into the space. They'll have a Walmart banking app where you can
yep,
access, and they'll
yeah,
try to undercut what everybody else, because again, fees are where banks make their money. When you
Right.
talk about $17 billion in overdraft fees last year for certain banks, where did that money come from? Was it your average American? Was it your 1%er, your 10%er? No, they're not paying overdraft fees like that. They're
No.
paying from the poor, from the lower 20%.
Yeah.
And
Right.
here's what's crappy about that is when I dug into that $17 billion, and I did a little bit statistically speaking, most of that $17 billion comes from people that average overdraft fees more than twice a month.
Yeah. And listen, I used to be that person, right? Um, and there came a point where I was just like, I went and turned off overdraft, meaning I was just like, yeah, I'd rather just not. I'd rather just be like, yeah, my card didn't work. I guess it's broken or the machine's broken, or I just don't have money right now, and that's
Right.
fine. Because I've spent. There was one occasion where it was like $400. This is an account that I forgot existed, and I forgot I had something attached to it to Autopay. And I went in, and the guy, fixed everything, and he was super kind. And then I waited a week, pulled all my cash out, which was $14, and closed the account. I was like, I'm just not going to have a bank account. Like, I'm just going to limit myself to one account at one place and
Mm-hmm.
hardly use it. And I think that, and listen, there's another company that attracts the lower end of the consumer called Mobile. And they also got into the business with a partnership. Um, because I walked into a T-Mobile to get a new phone, and there was three people in line in front of me. I'm like, oh great, three people trying to get phones, three people trying to just pay their bill this month. Like,
Right.
what? Like, to me it was like I didn't even realize people came in and did that. I was just like, what? You just do it online. Who does this in person?
Yeah.
Because I'm fancy like that. But
Well, but that's I fall on the side sometimes, and again, I know you don't agree with me on this when it comes from companies looking out for consumers or whatever. Danny is a big fan of you make stupid decisions, you deal with the ramifications of that, and screw you. But
listen, you
I,
learn, and I think the
no,
concept.
you don't learn. That's the problem. When you're talking about this demographic of people, the bottom 20 or 30%, whether it's through ignorance or through necessity, they don't learn. And here's why. Remember Cricket Wireless, and I'm sure it's still
Yeah,
around to a certain standpoint.
they're owned by AT&T now. They're
Okay.
called something else.
But Cricket Wireless first came out as you pay your own, you know what I mean? You only pay what you
Pay as you
use.
go. Yeah.
And they preyed on this demographic of people that couldn't go get a cell phone because their credit was bad. And
Right.
you know what I mean? It was almost a prepaid kind of thing back in the day. And there was a while that I worked with a company that part of their job was getting a hold of these kind of people, right? Not debt collection, but getting a hold of these people to try and help them. And you know what the motto was half the time you were calling someone's cell phone number? The
No.
Cricket number you have dialed is no longer in service, right? And they pray, and I say pray because it's a business model, right? This falls into the same thing as some of the check cashing places and the payday loan places and this kind of stuff.
Right. And there was actually a lady who did a study who was a professor, and she's like, why do poor people make such terrible financial decisions? And she went and worked in a handful of payday lending and check cashing places. And she's like, actually, these consumers are very intelligent. They just understand that, for one reason or another. When you said necessity, now that I agree with. One guy's like, hey, listen, I go to the check cashing place because if I don't pay my day laborers every
Right.
day, they don't come back to work the next,
Right.
because they just assume that it's not going to happen because they've been burned enough. So I see where you're coming from. And obviously, we have ideological differences because I'm smarter than you are.
Sure, sure.
I'm not,
Yeah,
I'm not trying to whip out.
there's nobody that watches this show that believes that, by the way. But go ahead.
Well, they're idiots. Our show is literally called Idiots versus Idiots. Our audience is made up of.
We're all idiots. Yes, yeah, yeah.
So, nonetheless, what I'm driving at is these consumers are unbanked. That is the term in the industry.
Yes.
And like you said, they're walking to Walmarts with a decent enough frequency that this could push them over into the banking side. And you're right. They probably don't need to have a huge retail operation. They can probably satisfy everything that the majority of the consumers needs by putting up a kiosk.
Oh, absolutely. Well, yeah, exactly. And why even take up some of their space that they could lease out to other people, right? Like the the nail salons and the hair salons and
Right.
the eye doctors and dentists and anybody else, like you said, and then put up a kiosk because 99.9% of their services are going to come from a Walmart banking app, right? But again, how do they get in and make it worth their while is getting all of these people on board in droves. And how did they do that? The same way they've done it to other pharmacies when they move into a small area or whatever. They charge less, they push you out of the market, right? That kind of thing. So I think if
Generally serving the less financially equipped customer better, with lower fees.
and I look from that standpoint, I hope you're right. But again,
Yeah.
there's no company out there, at least in this size, that is doing much of anything altruistically. They're doing it
No, of course
because
not.
they're gonna get these fees. They're gonna make their
Yeah.
money, and they want to make their money and add it to
I
their
know.
bottom line.
What evil people trying to, get into business to make money. How
Hey, we're
dare
all in it
they?
to make money, but how you choose to make it is definitely there is a difference there, Danny.
Fine.
Some of us have what they call ethics and morals, but sure,
I'm
go ahead.
unfamiliar with those phrases. So,
Maybe you are the smarter one, you know.
right? But hey, we do want to talk about something very serious over here at Idiots versus Idiots. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, audience, but we're death peddlers. That's right. We peddle the death of plastic pollution. Not only does liquid death murder your thirst, 10% of every can sold goes to end plastic pollution. Let me tell you something, friends. It is a superior water delivery system. You can use code IDIOTS10 at liquiddeath.com. You can get two free koozies with your order. Now, this
Facebook tried to
next,
accuse us of drinking beer. That's what Facebook tried to do. Facebook tried to accuse us of drinking beer.
yeah, and I also got accused of that by a police officer while I was driving around drinking one.
And it's like,
Um,
no, no,
well, I went to high school with
liquid
the
death.
guy, so it was fine.